This has been Strictly Ball Business.
Strictly ball business.
Strictly ball business.
I like that video.
Shit.
One team that's been stuck in mediocrity for a long time, and that's the Wizards. And Beal just signed a massive contract for 5 years. I have it in front of me. I just read it wrong. He has a player option for the 26-27 season, and it goes all the way up to there. Signed massive money, basically damned this franchise to mediocrity for another 5 years. Say it 6 years.
Yeah.
What?
Hey, yeah. Yeah, you asked. Sorry.
No, insane. So, what does this mean? Like, explain how this is. He's not helping their franchise, even though people are like, oh, there's a star there. Ticket sales will be good. They're gonna diminish, and they have diminished as we've seen. Like they're not getting better. Tell me how this is just fucking over this whole franchise.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the Wizards were consensual in this exchange. They wanted this to happen. They offered the contract. They're idiots. But it completely screws them over because he's absorbing 30-40% of the cap now. And
cap is about 120,000, and he's going to be taking in 45.
Yeah, so that's a solid third. A little over a third of the payroll is going to Bradley Beal, which we've seen doesn't get you to the playoffs every year, doesn't win you playoff games, doesn't do anything for you other than, gets a couple all-stars. He scores points. In my opinion, he's not worth that contract.
Oh, yeah.
He's a great player, obviously, but God, would another team be willing to pay him that if they had another star next to him?
Knicks.
And have two guys getting paid that much? Yeah, maybe the Knicks.
Knicks would pay him more. They give him New York.
Yeah, the Knicks or the Kings, maybe.
Yeah, the Kings definitely would. It's desperate small market teams. Knicks, Kings. I think the Hornets should, especially next to LaMelo. They are stuck in mediocrity too. But listen, taking nothing away from
those
Bradley
teams
Beal.
At least have other good players. What do the Wizards have outside of Bradley Beal?
Porzingis. Let's talk about that. The best they've brought in was Porzingis, Dinwiddie, Westbrook. Now, all these guys, they're not gonna win games. They're just minor additions. They're just pulling in these all-stars or whatever. And granted, yes, Westbrook was an MVP. But I don't think he's ever been a superstar that can affect winning in a team. He's proven that he's not. We just talked about that with what he did with how he ruined Kevin Durant's chances. But it just forces him being there forces them to stay competitive. We have to keep doing this. We can't be bad. Keeps them in limbo where no one wants to be.
They keep rotating the point guard position. Okay, so they went from John Wall, who they had forever, obviously.
Yep.
Then they went from him to Russell Westbrook to Spencer Dinwiddie, who they gave a contract to, and now they've got Monte Morris. And so it's
progressively worse.
Yeah, so it's just okay, do you guys not see a problem here?
Yeah, and the Porzingis trade alone just makes no sense because their two brightest young spots, Denny Adviha and Rui Hachimura, are both forwards, small forwards or power forwards. Both of them are pure power forwards. And they just trade for a power forward. It's
and those are young guys you want to give playing time to.
Yeah, come on. Man.
Porzingis has proven that he's not getting better in this league. He's only getting worse. You trade for him on a max contract.
That alone is dumb. But yeah, so he takes up. So he's gonna be taking up that. I have the salary cap probably up right now, but. So also it affects them. They don't get any major picks. Listen, they haven't had a top 5 pick in almost 10 years.
Yeah,
and because not just because of him, obviously. So in 2010, the Wizards drafted first overall John Wall. 2012, third overall was Beal. 2013, third overall was Otto Porter, who's a champion with another team. So since 2012. He's just been in mediocrity. How many times? Like, I get they were like a serious force when they had to face IT, but they didn't do it. People like to talk about it, but they didn't win. Have your excuses. They didn't get there.
They're just afraid to go back to that drawing board, and like the data is there to prove that they were successful because they got John Wall and Bradley Beal in those drafts, and they had other good veterans around those guys, and they had a decent run in the playoffs. But then those guys got older. John Wall got hurt, and Bradley Beal, sure, he's still great, but it's time to blow it up again. If you were able to trade him, you could have got something good back. Maybe a Jaylen Brown, maybe a top pick to draft the next Bradley Beal. Like, they're too afraid to blow it up again for whatever reason.
Maybe they don't. I mean, they drafted well. I don't see like John Wall was a solid player. Beal's obviously a solid player. Otto Porter is a good player. They just wanted him to be more. I forgot who the pick was between Wall and Beal, but they were complete bust. Yeah, that fucked up. I think that was the 5th overall.
There was Evan Turner, I think, was that year, wasn't he? The John Wall year? Or are you talking about the year in between Beal and Wall?
Yeah, in between Beal and Wall. But Evan Turner was high too. But
Evan Turner was the same year as John Wall.
But I mean, you look at every team. The Mavs drafted Dennis Smith Jr. We just talked about him, and he didn't work out. And the Mavs are doing fine. So you don't need to hit on everyone. You just need to hit and know when to sell and know when to draft and buy. It's all that.
You just gotta know yourself. You gotta check yourself every.
But they get less of a chance because he's gone, right?
What do you mean, less of a chance for what?
Oh yeah, they get less of a chance to do all this stuff, to draft, to get closer in, just because stuck in.
Well, and you trade picks, every now and then because you try to bring in some veteran. You think you're, doing something smart there, and you continue to have a first round pick maybe, which they do, but it's like always 8th or 9th or 10th, and like history shows us there's almost never a good player there. Like there is sometimes like. Franz Wagner got picked around that range, and he's looking great. But we've seen that these guys don't know how to draft there. No. So like, why keep picking there?
Exactly. I mean, it's
either trade the
tough.
pick or like try to trade up. Like if you're gonna compete, or just blow it up. I mean, it's time to blow it up.
It is time to blow it up, and I think
that time
they can get a massive haul for Bradley Beal if they choose to trade him, and I think that's the smartest thing. Porzingis, he's got 2 years left on his contract. 2 years. He has a player option the second year. He's gonna take it. So after this year, you gotta hold on to Kristaps for one more year. I doubt you'll find anyone to take his $36 million. So just hold on to him, see what happens. Trade Brett Beal, get a good package, start the ball rolling. I think it's turned out well for a lot of teams. Magic finally hit the trigger. They're doing it. Rockets are doing it. And so far, like, I'm impressed. I mean, so is Pistons are in the same situation, always stuck in mediocrity. But now they have Sadiq Bey, they have Jaden Hardy, and Cade Cunningham. So I'm happy with theirs, and I'm sure they're happy with their young guys and see how they develop. So one day they gotta pull the trigger soon.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's time. I mean, I think the package that you get for Bradley Beal only gets worse each year you go by with him. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, even right now, a team trading for him is gonna have Bradley Beal making $47 million when he's like 38 years old, and like
$57 million in 26.
Like, $57 million, yeah. So, I mean, it's just like, who was interested in that?
That's tough, yeah. I mean, that's kind of they might be like trying to stick it like, oh, who's gonna pay? Who wants to trade for you with this amount of money? Maybe that's their idea of trapping him forever, and they just don't care anymore. But that's the Wizards. What do you guys think? Do you guys really think they can compete anytime soon? Do you think? Let me know what you guys think about this team. Comment below. Subscribe if you haven't already. So,
all right, guys, that was strictly ball business, and we loved hearing you.